Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the daily quiz discussion for the 7th of June 2022. Beginning with the first question of the day, which reads, which of the following best describes the newly launched Samarth Portal? The four options are as follows. Option A, it is meant to collect feedback from the people on the implementation of union government schemes. Option B, it is a portal to drive people's participation in the policy formulation process. Option C reads, it is a one-stop digital portal linking government credit schemes. And option D reads, it is a portal to lodge complaints against errant public officials. Now let us understand the context to this question. This article from today's The Hindu notes the Honorable Prime Minister's speech at the launch of the iconic week celebrations of Finance and Corporate Affairs Ministries. Speaking at the event, the Prime Minister urged the bank chiefs to make it easier for people to get loans through the Jan Samarth portal. So let's understand what this Jan Samarth portal is all about. Basically, it is a one-stop digital platform that links the government credit schemes on a single platform. This is a one-of-a-kind platform given that it links the potential beneficiaries of certain government schemes with the lenders. By lenders, I mean the financial lenders. Hence, it will ensure that the government benefits reach the needy through simple and easy digital processes. With this understanding, let's come back to the question. From our discussion, it becomes clear that the correct answer to this is option C. Moving on to the second question of the day, which reads, which of the following statements is or are correct? There are three question statements given here. The first one reads, UAE figures among India's top three global trade partners. Statement 2 reads, Saudi Arabia is India's topmost oil supplier globally. Statement 3 reads, among the Gulf countries, UAE houses the highest number of overseas Indians. Please have a look at the options. Now, what is the context? This article from the Data Point series analyzes India-Gulf nation relationship amid the diplomatic backlash being faced by India by the member countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council. This article notes the importance of Gulf countries for India in the following four areas: trade relations, oil dependency, Indian diaspora, as well as the inward remittances to India. Now first let's understand the trade relation. UAE ranks third, while Saudi Arabia ranks fourth. Please note, UAE alone accounts for almost 7% of total trade. Also, notably, UAE is India's second largest export destination. This makes UAE all the more significant for India in the trade domain. Moving on to oil dependency, note the Gulf Cooperation Council along with Iran accounts for almost 40% of India's fuel oil needs. When it comes to diaspora, almost 90 lakh Indians, accounting for 28% of overseas Indians, reside in the Gulf region. UAE alone accounts for around 3.4 million Indians. When it comes to remittances, the Gulf region accounts for 55% of India's inward remittance flow, with UAE alone accounting for around 20%. With this basic understanding, let's get back to the question. The first statement is correct. UAE figures among India's top three global trade partners. It stands third. The first and second position is taken by US and China. Now note the second statement. It says Saudi Arabia is India's topmost oil supplier globally. This statement is wrong. Saudi Arabia is India's topmost oil supplier from the Gulf region, but when taken on the global scale, it is Iraq. So an inference from this is Iraq is not a member of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Moving on to the third statement. Among the Gulf countries, UAE houses the highest number of overseas Indians. This statement is correct. Since the question asks for the correct statement, the answer to this question would be option C, 1 and 3 only. Moving on to the third question, which reads, which of the following statements is or are incorrect with respect to India's international cooperation with respect to disability? There are two question statements given here. The first one reads, India has signed the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities but is yet to ratify it. The second statement reads, India is a party to the Incheon strategy to make the right real for persons with disabilities in Asia and Pacific region. Please have a look at the options. What is the context? This article from the PIB notes the achievements of the Social Justice Ministry on completion of 8 years. The ministry has launched major schemes, programs, and initiatives for empowering the socially, educationally, and economically marginalized sections of the society, including people with disabilities. One of the major domestic initiatives taken by the ministry includes the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. This provides for reservation in jobs and education for people with disabilities. At the international level too, India has taken several initiatives. Let's get back to the question to understand this better. Note, India has signed the United Nations Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities, and it has also ratified it. It was ratified way back in 2007. So the first statement is wrong. Now look at the second statement. India is a party to the Incheon strategy. This statement is correct. Now let's understand what this Incheon strategy is all about. This strategy was formulated as part of the course of action for the Asian and Pacific Decade of Persons with Disabilities 2013-2022. It is the first set of regionally agreed disability inclusive development goals. It builds on the Bivako Millennium Framework for Action, which envisages an inclusive, barrier-free, rights-based society for persons with disabilities. Since the question asks for the incorrect statement, the answer to this question would be option A, one only. Moving on to the fourth question of the day, which reads, consider the following pairs of valleys and their associated states. There are four such pairs given here: Yangtikuti, Uttarakhand; Yumtang, Nagaland; Zuko, Mizoram; and Chamba, Himachal Pradesh. How many pairs given above are correctly matched? Please have a look at the options. What is the context? This article from the PIB notes the study being undertaken by the Vadia Institute of Himalayan Geology in the Yangtikuti Valley. Note, Yangtikuti Valley is located in the extreme eastern part of Uttarakhand. The study analyzes the relationship between Himalayan climate and the glacier dynamics of the Middle Himalayas. Coming back to the question, the first pair, that is Yangtikuti, Uttarakhand, is correctly matched. The second valley, Yumtang, is not located in Nagaland. It is located in Sikkim. Note, this Yumtang Valley is also popularly known as the Valley of Flowers. It is home to the Shingba rhododendron century. Note, rhododendron is the state flower of Sikkim. So this pair is wrongly matched. Next, Zuko Valley is located not in Mizoram but in the state of Nagaland. Some sources note Zuko Valley bordering the states of Nagaland and Manipur. This valley is known for the Zuko lily, which is a flower found only in this valley. So the third pair is also wrongly matched. Moving on to the fourth pair. Chamba Valley is indeed located in the Himachal Pradesh state. It is located on the banks of the river Ravi, a tributary of the Indus River. Since the question asks for the correctly matched pairs, the answer would be option B, only two pairs. Moving on to the last question of the day. This is a question from the UPSC 2019 General Studies Paper 1. The question reads, the money multiplier in an economy increases with which one of the following? The four options are as follows. Option A, increase in the cash reserve ratio. Option B, increase in the banking habit of the population. Option C, increase in the statutory liquidity ratio. And option D, increase in the population of the country. Before we get down to discussing the answer, let us understand what we mean by money multiplier. Money multiplier is the phenomenon of creating money in the economy in the form of credit creation. This relates to the amount of money created by commercial banks for a given fixed amount of base money. This is based on the fractional reserve banking system. In such a system, only a fraction of the bank's deposits are backed by actual cash on hand and are available for withdrawal. This helps expand economy by freeing capital for lending. Note, cash reserve ratio as well as statutory liquidity ratio decrease the money available with commercial banks. When the money available with commercial banks decreases, their lending capacity also decreases. This will decrease the money multiplier effect. So option A and option C are wrong. Now consider option B. As the banking habit in a population increases, people will tend to save more. This will result in an increase in the deposit money available with banks, which they can use to lend. This will indeed help increase the money multiplier effect. So the correct answer is option B. Please note that a general increase in the population of the country need not result in an increase in the money multiplier effect. Moving on to the fact of the day, revenue deficit grant. What is the context? This article from the PIB notes the Department of Expenditure, Ministry of Finance, releasing the revenue deficit grants to 14 states. In this context, let us understand a few basic aspects related to revenue deficit grants. The first one, note these revenue deficit grants are released based on the recommendations of the Finance Commission. The 15th Finance Commission recommended post-devolution revenue deficit grants for the year 2022-23 to 14 states. The number of states can vary from one financial year to another. Please note, these revenue deficit grants are granted under Article 275 of the Indian Constitution. The basic aim of these grants is to help meet the gap in revenue account of state post-devolution. That is all for today. If you are liking our initiatives, please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you for being with us.